Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3Y TV and welcome to NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. Tonight we have the NorthWest Race Report 200 for you here from Lanier. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a spectacular show. Joining me in the booth here tonight is Greg Rentz. Of course, I am Peter Short. And I'll tell you what, folks, it is going to be an absolute fantastic show. From what I've seen in practice, this little bull ring of a racetrack, although it's lost its inside walls in real life, it will put on an absolute treat here tonight. And Greg, 24 cars will line up and they'll be led by the number 3 of Daniel Masters here tonight.
Daniel Masters, in his return to the Tour, missed a few races over the last couple of weeks, is back in the seat, and he is starting on the pole. We're already blowing off, so Peter, we're going to have to do rapid-fire intros and just click off as many as we can. Masters on the pole with Eric Cheney to his outside. Dylan Huffines, Adam Holm, Josh Robinson, Garrett Huffines, Brad Carpenter, Shane Quinn, BJ Tidrick, and Isaiah Gill rounding out the top 10 here to start this one off.
Yeah, and Casey Garber, Ryan Gormley on row number 6. Of course, Ryan Gormley going for the points. We'll show those here in a little bit. Travis Barnes, Bart Hector Jr., 13 and 14. Casey Tillman, Travis McKinney, Brian Payne, Christopher Heim, Daniel Tidrick, Rusty Webb rounds out your top 20, and Ellie Musgrave, Cameron Doyle, Nick Bellamy, and Seth Frazier rounding out your field. But the green flag is already out, and the field led by the number 3 of Daniel Masters. We're underway here going off into turn number 1, and really good start to the outside by Eric Cheney, although he smacked the wall there coming out of turn number 2. The number 3 of Daniel Masters here going to jump out to an early lead, clearing the number 76 and bringing the number 7 of Dylan Huffines with him.
Not the start Eric Cheney wanted in the new look 76. He got such a great jump on the initial start. He's run a lot of Legends races here in the past few weeks, getting set for this race, I'm sure, as he is in the outside. He's leading the high group, but unfortunately it's not going right now after he hit the wall. The top 4 have broken by a single file, and here comes Brad Carpenter, the Iowa winner, to the inside now of Eric Cheney. Still Daniel Masters up front. He's led every lap so far, as the laps are going to click away very quickly here at the Lanier Speedway, Peter, because this is probably the smallest track the iRacing.com NorthWest Tour, brought to you by Joe Racing Products, is going to hit all night. The caution is already out.
Yeah, first caution of the night in the NW Race Report 200, and it does look like the number 74 machine, driven by Brian Payne, has possibly gone around. We'll see. Oh, a little bit of contact there from the number 45. That's Daryl Tidrick in that car, and the 74 does a little 360. Looks like not too much damage on that discount tire machine, so hopefully he can keep that car going straight here and stay on the lead lap. Now you can see another angle of it, but keeps it off the inside wall. Doesn't look like a single scratch on that car, just an early caution. That will get the field jumbled back up, but definitely tough here in the early goings for the number 76 machine of Eric Cheney. Of course, he was kind of stuck up there on the high side. The good news is he'll now be on the inside for this upcoming restart, assuming we do have double file restarts. The league can and does reserve the right to have single file instead of double file, so we'll see how that goes. But I'll tell you what, Greg, we got an awesome sponsor this week, NW Race Report, for the NW Race Report 200. Of course, Wednesday night, 6:30 Pacific, you can tune in, of course, during the late model season to hear a little bit about that. And really, a great group of people. Terry Bridges, Glenn Tower, Jeff Eden. Really good show there, Greg.
Absolutely, and I've gotten the privilege to be able to work alongside Terry Bridges a couple times at Yakima Speedway and Hermiston Raceway, a couple of local tracks here for the Northwest. I'm sure many of our fans here in the Northwest have not only heard of those two facilities, but have been to the facilities multiple times. Got to work alongside Terry, and just love listening into his shows on Northwest Race Report and Late Model Monday as well. The same group of guys during the racing season here in the Northwest. Late Model Monday, they talk about all the big late model stuff going on in our region, and they branch out and cover stuff nationally too. But it's so much fun to have one of those shows here in the Northwest that covers our late model scene, which is honestly one of the most competitive late model scenes in the country. And it's so good to have Northwest Race Report supporting us. Daryl Tidrick was given an EOL penalty in his return race, and Peter, Daniel Masters is getting set to lead him back to green.
Absolutely. Pace car is on pit road, and we're back to green flag racing. You see those front ends of those machines jump up into the air as they all hit the loud pedal. And the number 3 of Daniel Masters will clear the number 7 of Dylan Huffines as they go through turn number 1. Now, I'm going to be interested to see if these cars around the outside will kind of get freight trained like we saw Eric Cheney did in the 76 on that race start there. 11 laps ago.
Oh,
probably gonna wreck your leaders around, and there's a big pileup up the front of the field.
The entire field was caught up in that.
It's still going. It's still going, Greg. There is an absolute mess on the backstretch.
Peter, I'm seeing maybe 2 cars that got through that.
There you see the parking lot of turn number 2. And my, oh my, you don't see those very often. Look like Nick Lemmy there and Rusty Webb, the 20 and the 88 towards the back of the field, kind of getting through it. There's the number 45. Let's see, coming into it late. Hopefully they were able to get woed up in time. Here we go. Let's watch this replay. Right up at the front, number 7 dived down to the inside, and maybe a smidgen of net code there as Daniel Masters goes around off the front end of Dylan Huffines in the 7, and watch all these cars, my oh my, just all kind of getting involved. Ooh, look at the number 6 of Cameron Doyle. Oof, just hitting the number 48 there, Travis McKinney. Looks like not too much damage on those cars. And you know what? I'll tell you what, Greg, the good news is I'm looking through this field. Yeah, there's a couple of cars that have some damage, including the number 82 of Bart Hector Jr., sporting a new paint scheme this week as we rode on board there with Seth Frazier. Of course, Seth Frazier came into tonight the points leader in that Mike Wood Race Designs machine. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's keep an eye on that 82 Bart Hector. You see he ran into the back of what looked like Ryan Gormley in the 44 machine. New paint scheme on that 82 this week. Pretty cool to see that.
Mike Wood painted that car for Bart over the weekend. Still sporting the Cascade Championship Wrestling logo on it, which of course, me being co-owner of that company, I'm very happy to see it out there, and really proud to have Bart driving our logo around. And gotta give a shout to Mike Wood for painting that car up. Of course, one of our great sponsors, does so much great stuff. But Peter, I've been looking around in the field. I'm noticing a couple of drivers sporting new paint schemes this evening, including Casey Garber. I'm noticing kind of almost a Christopher Bell, or maybe even an old RCR Ream vibe, almost like an old 2-car that Austin Dillon or so would have driven. But we're getting set to go back to green. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, green flag back in the air. Brad Carpenter now your race leader in the Bob's Pet and Pond Ford Mustang, leading the way here, going off into turn number 3 now. And look at the number 72, that's BJ Tidrick right behind him, and Tidrick's going to get clear of the cars behind him. We got a car joining the racetrack right now. It's the number 7 of Huffines. He had a lot of damage, tried to get as much of it fixed here. He is currently being scored 2 laps down with Daniel Masters in the number 3 machine as well. Shane Quinn 3 laps down, Isaiah Gill 4 laps down, and Garrett Huffines has taken the number 42 machine to the garage. So a couple of cars here having a little bit more damage than I expected, but no damage on that number 31 machine as Brad Carpenter leads the way, as we will have the 10% race distance complete this time by.
His laps are going to click away quickly, like we talked about right at the start of the race, Peter. This is such a small racetrack, just 0.38 miles long. Not 100% sure, but I believe this may be the smallest track on the iRacing server. So we were very excited to have this track added, but a lot of drivers said, hey, if there's a problem early in the race, it could spell trouble for a lot of drivers if they're not paying attention, and we've already seen it happen. As look what happened here on that second caution.
Yeah, we already saw a big pileup coming out of turn number 2, but I'm also keeping an eye on Christopher Heim. He got a shot from Rusty Webb last time in turn number 1 and 2. There they are right there, the number 51 and the 88. And looks like so far they're keeping off of one another, but things starting to get a little bit single file here, especially up the front. Your first about 10 cars or so are single file. Travis McKinney and Travis Barnes, the first side-by-side battle. We have another caution.
We have Dylan Huffines around. Turn number 1 in the leaders.
Oh
boy.
Yeah, we'll see what happened there. The 7 of Huffines. Oh, maybe Shane Quinn and the number 4 machine possibly getting involved there. I remember Shane Quinn is a couple laps down, as is Dylan Huffine. So both
I
of
was gonna
those
say
cars.
that may be for position also. That battle may have been.
Ooh. Yeah, it looks like just a nudge off
Yes,
the front
confirmed
end.
that was. Oh no, it was not for position.
So unfortunately, Shane Quinn, I believe he will have to take this strike. Now, there is a tap and strike rule this week. They kind of revolutionized the rules at this point. Drivers who are at fault have to tap and strike. As you see the pace car driving through everyone, they're causing a nuisance. The good old iRacing pace car. And of course, that is kind of on the back end of what happened at Phoenix just a couple weeks ago in the Mission Valley Super Oval 150. Travis Barnes was interviewed here as the race winner on 3Y TV. However, post-race review happened and Travis Barnes was assessed a 1-lap penalty for a lap 15 incident, which dropped him to about 16th position. So Travis Barnes unfortunately lost the win that he had at the Mission Valley Super Oval, which pole vaulted Seth Frazier to the race win. And really everyone kind of looked at that. And Greg, really they said you should have taken the end of longest line penalty. And so this week, if you're involved in an incident, you have to tap, which will send you to the end of longest line. But if you're the cause of the incident, if you're the person who caused it, you also have to take the strike for it. So it's interesting to see kind of these rules in full effect late on in the season, but it does look like we're going to have a single file restart here as pace car lights are off, and you can see the field mostly single file, although they're not quite here as they're still trying to get things sorted out.
They're getting sorted out as we go back racing. Brad Carpenter jumps back out to the lead into turn number 1. BJ Tidrick right behind him in second, with Case Garber, Ryan Gormley, and Ellie Musgrave having a good run up in the top 5 here early. Then it's Hector, Bellamy, Cameron Doyle bringing up into the top 8, with Casey Tillman and Eric Cheney rounding out the top 5 and or top 10, I should say. And Peter, now we're seeing the single file. We've had a few cautions. We are 32, working lap 33 into this 200 lap race. Are you going to expect to see guys starting to settle down, or do you think we're not done seeing the early ruffle?
I don't think we're quite done yet, and that's just because this racetrack is kind of a boring, and really it's about breaking points. This racetrack is so unique because you're almost constantly turning. You kind of have to go back a couple weeks back when we went to the track up in the Northeast that I can't remember the name of right now. But, there is so many different lines around this racetrack. You see some drivers trying to get below that yellow dotted line. You see some drivers running just above it. There's Ellie Musgrave running about half a groove up. So I think we're going to have maybe another couple of cautions, but I do know that these NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products drivers, very, very talented. We've seen almost caution-free races so far this year multiple times. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong, as you see the brake rotors glowing there on the Rustic Moon number 72 of BJ Tidrick, whipping his way around this short racetrack. Here we got side by side, the number 8. The man who was given a 1-lap penalty and took away the
problems
win.
up in front. In front of them, Ellie Musgrave had to lock up the brakes going into turn number 3 and got brake trained on the high side. Not sure what happened. We take a look at the 3Y TV replay. Well, there you see here we go. Caution is out. Travis McKinney has gone around as Hector got in the back of Ellie Musgrave there, but while we were at replay, caution came out for Travis McKinney in the 48 facing the wrong way on the one-way. Now we're going to take a look at the 3Y TV replay and see what happened here. We were watching the battle between him and Barnes. Oh, Ellie Musgrave comes up just a little bit into the 48 to Travis McKinney and puts us under our 4th caution of the afternoon here, just 41 laps in.
I mean, the good news is that a lot of these cars have been involved in these kind of slight little taps that have led to accidents. Not a lot of damage. I mean, that number 48 machine, Travis McKinney, sporting some front-end damage from an earlier accident, but shouldn't have any further damage from that one right there. So that is good news here on 3 Wide TV. Got to give a shout out to some of the people in the chat, Jay Crable and Kathy, of course, making herself heard here on 3 Wide TV as always. But if you're in the chat right now, give us a shout. We'll give you a shout right back, because we are here just now over the 20% race distance. And let's talk about the points, because one thing we haven't mentioned yet there, Greg, is this is the penultimate round of the 2020 or 2019-2020 Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. And look at that points battle right up at the top. Seth Frazier with that win last week at Phoenix after the penalty was assessed to Travis Barnes. 5-point lead over the rookie sensation, Ryan Gormley. Bart Hector Jr. only 23 markers back. And of course, there are drops in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. So that could all play out in one of those two drivers' advantage when this season comes to a conclusion next week. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to miss the season finale in 1 week's time here on 3 Wide TV. It is going to be a fantastic show.
I'm so looking forward to this championship race, because 5 points separating Frazier and Gormley, and then you've got Hector and Quinn still within striking distance, and you factor in the drops after that. This championship is nowhere near settled. And Peter, we're getting set to go back green, and so far, ever since that incident, it's been the Brad Carpenter show up front.
Yeah, ever since we had that big log jam coming out of turn number 2, this man has led every lap. He's going to lead another one right here as we're back to green flag racing. And got to keep an eye on Seth Frazier as well as the 44 of Gormley. Gormley in the 44 is up in 4th, and Seth Frazier in the 32 down in 14th. There is the 44 of Gormley, and there is the 32 of Seth Frazier. He's going to try and make a move here on the 88 of Rusty Webb. Going to dive down to the inside. They're side by side, headed down the back stretch. Frazier now using that inside groove. Going to get a good lunge coming out of turn number 4. Move the number 32 up into 13th. And of course, remember that passing points are in play. And Seth Frazier, he started tonight shotgun on the field because of his win last week, but he qualified in 6th. Meanwhile, Ryan Gormley qualified 4th, and due to the inversion, he started a little bit further back. So those cars definitely starting to make some noise. In fact, Seth Frazier just moved up yet another spot into the 12th position, getting around the 911 of Adam Hall. There he goes.
And Seth Frazier, he has really come on here in the second half of the season. He was held to a shutout last season, did not visit Victory Lane in the iRacing Northwest Tour, and he has rattled off 3 wins here in the second half of the season. Boy, once the checker flag finally came for him at Martinsville earlier this year, it has been a snowball for Seth Frazier. And of course, he's the one that wound up getting the win last weekend after the post-race penalties were assessed. So Seth Frazier is probably the hottest driver on the tour right now, but he's trying to track down a guy who has really been one of the hottest drivers all year and has really been a surprise this season, because not a lot of guys knew the name Ryan Gormley before the season started for the iRacing.com Northwest Tour. And here we are, we're at the Northwest Race Report 200, the penultimate race, and Ryan Gormley is right in the thick of things for the championship with a couple of wins to his credit, and running 4th right now, trying to track down Casey Garber. And Gormley, Peter, has really turned a lot of heads here early in the season, as we are keeping our eyes on Seth Frazier as he tries to make his way through the field, as he tries the outside now on Josh Robinson. Are you surprised to see Frazier trying the outside here, Seth? Or Peter, I should say.
Yeah, I definitely am, but he's making it work. He's clawing his way up past that number 47. There we go. I think he's going to clear him. No, he decided not to jump down in front of the 47 just yet. There he goes. And, ooh, man, got a little bit sideways coming out of turn number 4, but moved that number 32 now up into the 11th position for good. We also had a change of position up near the front. The number 8 machine, Travis Barnes, has been rattling off some very, very good laps in the number 8 machine. And we heard from Seth Frazier pre-race that he really thought that the number 8 of Travis... Oh, we have a caution. I was just going to say, Travis Barnes has something to do after last week, but it does look like the number 74 machine has gone around. That's not the first time he has gone around here tonight. see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay. Ooh, the number 45 machine, that's Daryl Tidrick. Those two got together, I believe, a little bit earlier in this race. We'll see what happened here. Looking out back at the number 47. Excuse me, not the 47, but looking at the 45.
74 we're on board with, looking at the 45.
Ooh, just a little bit of contact there right on entry.
And Daryl Tidrick, it's good to have Daryl back in the field tonight. For those who don't know who Daryl Tidrick is, if you may be new to the tour this year, Daryl is the younger brother to BJ Tidrick, and BJ was giving his younger brother Daryl a hard time before the race of saying, hey, yeah, a little bit of netcode there, it would appear, but BJ was giving younger brother Daryl a hard time, you know, hey, he's back in the field, but unfortunately for him, we're lap 60, and Daryl Tidrick has been disqualified. So 2x you're out for Daryl Tidrick. His first race back comes to an end on lap 60.
Yeah, now I have. There's a question in the chat. If BJ wins, ask about his new roller skates. If we don't go 1 to green this time by, I'm gonna pull him up and give him a question about that. Oh, okay. Let's ask BJ Tidrick about his new roller skates. How about that? BJ Tidrick, Peter Short in the 3-wide TV booth. Hey, we got a question. Josh Aguirre says, we have to ask you about your new roller skates, and how is that number 72 driving here tonight?
Man, we got it pretty hard. I actually struggled in practice all week, and luckily I found some speed here late in practice, and this 31 car is fast. But basically what Josh referred to, me and my kids took up roller skating recently, and it's been a lot of fun, so yeah.
All right, well, best of luck there, BJ, and hopefully you can close out this race well.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're about to go back to green flag racing, and there we go. Oh, well, as I say that, the caution flag has been thrown again, so we're going caution for at least one more lap. Not quite sure what that deal was. Oh, the back half of the field currently going on the back stretch. They're not lined up well at all, so I'm sure that is the reason.
A couple of guys in the front, or sorry, Peter, were ready to go, and they were already going when that caution was thrown there before the restart, and we're going to try it again this time. But a couple of guys I saw, Cameron Doyle, Travis Barnes, both were cautioned once again right at the initial start. So still some problems.
I'm a little bit concerned on whether or not that will be another full caution. So that's kind of surprising. Another caution flag thrown here, so pace car will go out. How about we step away here for just a brief moment and hear some words from our sponsors here in the NorthWest Tour. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't missed anything while we were away, and I think the admins tried to extend that previous caution period just by a lap, and in doing so, waited just a fraction of a second too late. So it acted like another full caution. But there you can see the Ford Mustang pace car. Its lights are off. And we're going to go back to green flag here. Got to highlight some of our biggest movers of this race. The number 6 machine of Cameron Doyle, plus 14. Seth Frazier, plus 13. And Nick Bellamy, plus 16. So those cars have come through the field quite considerably. The pace car now on pit road, back in the hands of Brad Carpenter, has led a good portion of this race as we have now reached the 35% distance. And we got side-by-side battle here between Casey Garber in the 96 and the 44 Ryan Gormley.
That was more than a side-by-side battle. They came together there coming off turn number 2 about a lap ago now. Gormley and Garber kind of door shot each other right here on the racetrack the time before. Gormley is able to get the spot, and you can see some damage on the right side of Gormley's car. Haven't really gotten a good look at Casey Garber's left side. We might get it here as we're on board with Bart Ector Jr., who's right behind him. If Garber can get a run in there, we see not a lot of damage on the 96, but there's definitely some damage on the 44 of Gormley as Hector to the inside. This is for the 4th spot right now. The new look Cascade Championship Wrestling entry, trying to break into the top 4. He's got Travis Barnes with him. Barnes, one official win on the season at Irwindale. He crossed the line first at Phoenix last week. Unfortunately, post-race penalties were assessed, so he was served a 1-lap penalty. Barnes looking for some redemption here tonight at Lanier as he now tries to work the inside of Casey Garber, move Travis Barnes into the top 5, now trying to bring Nick Bellamy with him, Peter.
Yeah, and Travis Barnes was on a complete tear, had the fastest 5-lap average before that last caution flag was thrown. So that number 8 machine definitely has some pace and now inside the top 5. Can't rule out Travis Barnes, also can't rule out Nick Bellamy. Nick Bellamy, though, looked like he might have been losing his tires a little bit. He had a little slide, and that actually allowed the number 44 to pass him a little bit earlier in the race. I saw that coming out of turn number 2, so we'll have to keep an eye whether or not Nick Bellamy can be a comer or goer here as this race continues on. Might be just trying to save some tire here. Still a long race, still over 100 laps to go. We haven't yet reached the cross flags. We got this battle a little bit further back. In fact, this is Josh Robinson and Eric Cheney doing battle for the 13th position. There's the Dial 911 machine, Adam Holm right behind them. There's Rusty Webb in the very clean number 88 machine. Not a scratch on that car yet. Can't say that for majority of the field. There's Eric Cheney still stuck on the high side. And this reminds me, Greg, of what happened at the start of the race. That number 76 just being kind of freight trained around the cars on the inside.
Yeah, Cheney did not get a good initial start from the outside front row. The new look 76 car, and he was fired up and ready to go, and he got the whole shot on the, unfortunately, back on the inside came Daniel Masters, and Cheney kind of washed up into the wall off turn number 2, and since then it's been a fight for the 76 car of Cheney's. We checked back in up further in the field. Look out, knock knock, here comes Travis Barnes in the 8. He has gotten around Bart Ector Jr. to move into the 4th spot, trying to track down Gormley, Tidrick, and Carpenter. Travis Barnes, he wants another win after what happened last weekend, Peter, and right now I don't think anything is going to get in his way. Travis Barnes is a man on a mission right now.
I wanted to draw your attention to this one right here. Seth Frazier now in the 9th position, trying to get around Cameron Doyle in the 6th car for the 8th spot. Really, that number 32 has been looking very strong, especially on corner exit. You see the number 6 kind of dancing around right in front of the number 32, and it looks like maybe Frazier might have had to check up there a little bit coming out of turn number 4 as to not run into the back of the number 6. But watch what Seth is doing. Oh, here he goes. He's going to dive to the inside. I was just about to say he kind of backs up his corners a little bit, but he didn't right there as he dives to the inside of Doyle here going through turn number 1 and 2. If he can get around Doyle, that gets him up into 8th, and after starting shotgun on the field, that would be a significant gain in positions from the start.
Couple Wenatchee drivers going to war right on your screen right now. 2 drivers who are looking forward to the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval season opener coming up on April 11th. And if you can't catch that race coming up in April, I'm sure our great friends at tonight's sponsor, NorthWest Race Report, will be there to fill you guys all in on how that one goes as we are watching a couple of Wenatchee boys going at it right now, and no doubt the Northwest Race Report will be at Wenatchee for that season opener on April 11th. But Peter, in this race right now, Travis Barnes, he has caught up to the top 3. He has already gotten around Ryan Gormley. Travis Barnes is on the podium now, and he is trying to get to the outside of BJ Tidrick. That 8 car is on rails.
Yeah, I was just about to say he made the move on Ryan Gormley about 2 laps ago, just dove down to the inside of the racetrack, late on the brakes, made that pass, and now all over the back bumper of the rusticmoon.net number 72, and looks like Tidrick might have made a small little mistake there, got a little bit sideways, and Travis Barnes capitalizes on that, and here comes Gormley all the way down there on the apron through turn number 1 and 2. That number 44 machine trying to take that spot, unable to fill the void that Travis Barnes left, but Barnes really is moving through the field, and I was watching 5-lap average. I'm still watching 5-lap averages, and currently your top 2 are the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack over the last 5 and even 10 laps. So the cream rises to the top here at Lanier as we close in on the halfway distance.
And there is lap traffic beginning to creep up in the windshield of Brad Carpenter. Right now it's only 1 car. It's 74 of Brian Payne, but lap traffic is going to come into play in a minute. Maybe not, because Carpenter kind of bobbled a little bit, and suddenly Travis Barnes is right there on the doorstep of Brad Carpenter. Boy, Travis Barnes has just been waiting for a driver to make a mistake, and he has been right there to capitalize every time. New leader off of turn number 2, Travis Barnes, has just gone to the point.
Yeah, and really, I'm impressed with how smooth that number 8 machine is. I mean, see a lot of other cars out there starting to wiggle. There's no tire changes tonight here in the Northwest, represented by Joe's Racing Products and the Northwest Race Report 200. So these drivers have to go all 200 laps on the same set of Hoosier tires. Here we go a little bit further back in the pack. That's Cheney and Ellie Musgrave. Musgrave down there on the inside trying to get around the 76. This battle is for the 15th position as of right now. The number 3, the pole sitter, Daniel Masters, was involved in that big skirmish out at turn number 2. Hasn't been able to work his way forward through the field just yet. Currently in 17th. A couple of pink cars there on your screen. And it does look like the number 23 of Musgrave will slot in behind number 76, at least for now. They're running just a few tenths behind the Dial 911 machine of Adam Palm. But now I'm curious to know, sorry to interrupt there, but Travis Barnes starting to check out how long can he keep this up at the front.
We'll see, but I've been keeping my eye on the battle for 4th between a couple of red cars. Nick Bellamy, Brian Gormley, they have gotten very close to each other a couple of times here in this battle for 4th. Bart Ecker Jr. creeping into the picture as well. I've been keeping my eyes on this battle for about the last 6 or 7 laps, and Gormley taking a higher line through the corner. Caution is out.
Yeah, just past the halfway distance, and we got the number, I think the 92, Casey Tillman around the backstretch. It is indeed. He's going to stay in front of your race leader. That's good news. Racing with the number 48 of Travis McKinney. What happened here? Ooh, maybe a little bit of help there from the front end of the 48 of McKinney. Ooh, backs it into the inside block there of concrete. We'll see this one more time, and it sure did look like the number 48 gave him a little bit of a nudge. We'll have to see if we can see from maybe the helicopter cam or the blimp cam whether it might have been net code or not. Here we go. Going through turn number 1 and 2 right now, and oop, yep, there's a little bit of a nudge there. There was definitely text. So I think that one will probably be on the number 48, and he has taken the end of longest line penalty. So gonna be interesting to see if the number 48 Travis McKinney can bounce back from this one. Likewise for Casey Tillman in the 92.
Yeah, that's a couple of previous winners on the tour. Of course, Travis McKinney getting the win at Rockingham, with Casey Tillman getting the win at Stafford. And Peter, we're past halfway here with Travis Barnes up front. Let's see if we can't catch up with the guy who's leading the way.
Well, I will see if you might be able to drag that number 8 machine into our booth, see if we can dial him up. There he is. Travis Barnes, Peter Short, 3Y TV. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, you've been on an absolute tear. I think you have something to prove after last week, but I'm just been so impressed with how smooth you're keeping that number 8 machine. How important is that, and how much of a rhythm racetrack is this one?
It's just really hard because the tires want to come out from underneath you, but you just got to give it like half throttle and it'll stick. But
All
we're
right,
about to
well,
go back to green, so I'll let you
yep.
go.
Yep, pace car lights are off. We'll move Travis back to his channel. And my oh my, 30-second lap here under caution. I mean, that is very, very impressive. But the green flag is back out. We'll be a little bit faster than 30 seconds. And Travis Barnes already jumping out to a pretty good lead here. We'll see if he can pull away from the number 31 of Brad Carpenter like he did under that last green flag run that we had. Still no damage on Brad Carpenter's machine. A little bit of right front damage on the number 8 of Travis Barnes, although it doesn't look to be hurting him at all. Let's see if we can go on board possibly with the number 32 machine, Seth Frazier. He has a really good look at the top 7 machines. Here we go on board. You just see it's pretty much a constant turn here. You go straight for maybe quarter to half of a second. I mean, it is such a tight racetrack, this one, as you see Casey Garber out the front end of Seth Frazier's machine.
Top 8 single file right now with Travis Barnes leading the way just a little bit. It's still single file behind him, but we've got 2nd through 8th with Seth Frazier all kind of just hanging out right here. Single file in a line, and right as I said, that 2nd place Brad Carpenter took a higher line, and we're seeing a couple of guys trying some different things. Not sure if they're trying stuff or if they're just sliding a little bit in the corners, and it's causing them to go up high because we're seeing different guys go high at different times. So wondering if that's just a product of the tires maybe beginning to wear off here. And Peter, we're a little bit past halfway, working lap 115 of 200 here. If you're around anywhere in this bubble, as we take a look at Casey Tillman on pit road, if you're anywhere in this bubble between 2nd to 7th, would you go into tire conservation mode for a bit and kind of let these guys do their thing, or would you be up on the wheel the whole time as long as you're around these guys?
I think you might be able to save tire for maybe the next 20 laps, but after that, with how fast these laps wind down, I think you're going to have to get into attack mode pretty quickly. As you see Seth Frazier in the number 32 trying to close in on the back bumper of the 96. Here we go on board with Nick Bellamy in the number 20. This is the 5th place car, and you can only see 3 cars directly in front of him because your race leader Travis Barnes has scooted away to a very impressive 1.5 second lead. There he is. His lap times, folks, just so good right now. I mean, almost a 1/10 of a second faster than 3rd. So Brad Carpenter in the number 31. You see last time by, yeah, that was a wash last time by, but Brad Carpenter 1.5 seconds back. BJ Tidrick in 3rd, and the rest to go. We got a side-by-side battle for the 4th position as I say that, and here comes Nick Bellamy trying to get around the number 44 Ryan Gormley. They're really tight coming out of turn number 4, and whoa, BJ Tidrick got a little bit sideways, and that's going to open the door on the high side for the number 44 Gormley. This is now a side-by-side battle for 3rd.
Gormley got a great run on the outside there when Tidrick made just that one mistake. And Peter, I've noticing a trend with that. Drivers just making one mistake and they slip up just a little bit, and the guy right behind them is able to pounce, and it's been like that all race. And honestly, that's how Travis Barnes was able to manipulate his way through the field so quickly. Just get in line and wait patiently, and then as soon as the guy in front of him makes one mistake, he's right there to pounce. And we're seeing it again with Ryan Gormley. Unfortunately, Gormley kind of stuck on the high side right now, which is not the preferred line at this track. As you can see, he's struggling to get around BJ Tidrick. He's making it work on the outside, though. He's got the nose in front, but Tidrick is able to come back on the inside. But Gormley looks like he might be able to clear Tidrick within a lap or so if he can keep going the way he is. Not quite clear yet. What a great view Nick Bellamy has of this. You're not missing anything behind him or single file, but this is the battle right now between Gormley and Tidrick. And Peter, I'm noticing Gormley much stronger on the high side on the exit. He might have him cleared this time if he can get out, and he can Ryan Gormley able to finally clear BJ Tidrick for the third spot?
Well, one thing I have been noticing is the fact that this racetrack, very, very important to save your rear tires, and that's what I'm seeing from a lot of these drivers, using up their stuff just a little bit coming out of the corner, and using that high line will definitely save rear tire because it's just a little bit straighter, it's a shallower radius around the racetrack, and now we see Seth Frazier in the number 32 machine right there on your screen. He's trying to go around the outside of the number 82, as we saw Brad Carpenter up near the front get a little bit sideways coming out of turn number 2. That's allowed Gormley to close up to the back bumper. In fact, Gormley showed his nose to the inside of the number 31, as you see Seth Frazier still trying to get around the number 82 machine, Bart Hector Jr. Very interesting to see this here. Your race leader, Travis Barnes, now almost up to a full straightaway lead.
Peter, going back to earlier in this race, we've talked about the high side being not the preferred line. There's a battle breaking out for the second spot. More on that in a minute, as Gormley is peeking on the inside of Brad Carpenter. We're seeing right here, this case in point, almost everybody is trying to make the inside lane work as Carpenter has pulled away a little bit. But Peter, I've noticed through the course of the race, the guy who has really been the one trying to make the outside work is that 32 of Seth Frazier, who's on the outside still of Bart Hector Jr., but he's got the spot on him right now. Frazier in the 32 has been the guy who's really been pushing on the outside and trying to make the high groove work. And right now, he's shown that, hey, it is capable as he clears Bart Hector Jr., now going after Bellamy as the battle breaks out once again between Gormley and Carpenter. But Seth Frazier, you might be showing the rest of the field, hey, if you want to make a move on the outside, it is possible here as long as you do it correctly. So Frazier really been the one driving in that high line, and we've seen that Ryan Gormley was able to make the pass on BJ Tidrick with the outside. So the more, or as this race wears on and we close in on the final 25% of this race, Peter, do you expect to start seeing more guys trying the high groove, or do you think they're going to stick with what they know here on the bottom?
Oh, look at Gormley, dives it to the inside of Brad Carpenter. Wasn't able to stick down there. Now I can answer your question. Wow, that was right there for the second position. I personally feel that single cars, if you're not side by side with someone, the inside groove's going to be where is where you're going to want to be. However, if the car can get to your outside, give the advantage to that outside car. I don't think that outside groove is necessarily faster until you put your nose out there and you get side by side, in which case you kind of force the car on the inside to a very sharp radius. And when you have a sharp radius, I mean, all these tires are about traction, right? There's only so much that these tires can do. If you're forcing these cars to turn more, then they can't accelerate as fast. They just can't. They don't have enough grip. So that's why being on the high side, you aren't turning as much. And so it gives more capacity for the tires to grip when you hit the accelerator. So that's why we're seeing all these passes around the outside, especially out of the number 32 is Seth Frazier, who personally, I've been watching him. He's been backing up his corners all race long. He's saving tires, and he's starting to now, it's starting to pay dividends for that number 32 Mike Wood Race Designs machine. And of course, we do have Mike Wood Race Designs in the chat. How's it going, Mike? Hopefully you're having a good night here. Seeing a couple of your painted schemes out there, including Bart Hector Jr. Good paint scheme on that car. Pretty cool to see. It's also got 3-wide racing television on the back side of it, so that's pretty cool to see here on 3-wide TV. But we continue to watch this battle. You're not missing anything up the front. Travis Barnes working his way through lap traffic right now. In fact, he's put all the way up to 16th position, one lap down, almost to the back bumper of Travis McKinney in the 15th position. But Travis Barnes, a 5-second lead, just insurmountable at this point in the race, as we only have 55 laps to go this time by.
But the thing, yeah, I was just getting ready to say, the thing that could cost him in the end is he has got heavy lap traffic in front of him right now, working on Travis McKinney in the 48. So a couple of Travises side by side. Barnes the leader, McKinney going the lap down. Oh, look out! Problems right in front. Cheney and Ellie Musgrave get together. No caution, and Travis Barnes had to go high to get away from that. And Peter, I'm not sure how a caution didn't come out for that one.
I don't think I've ever seen no caution in that situation. Whoa, even Travis McKinney getting involved. My oh my, you see the number 51 machine had to go all the way up to the top side of the racetrack. That's Christopher Heim. And there is these cars. Oh, this is still a replay. I was about to say they're still together out there on the racetrack. But wow, that was a moment for those three. No caution, still green here, as we now have 51 laps to go. Got to give a shout out to number 44, Ryan Gormley. He got around Brad Carpenter in all that mess. So 44 Gormley now in second, Carpenter the third, and Seth Frazier, folks, up into fourth.
Peter, I just want to point out a very interesting stat that I was keeping my eye on right at the time of that little incident. Travis Barnes was 5 seconds ahead of Ryan Gormley for second at the time of that incident. Gormley, in that one lap, with how quick these laps are taken away and how short this track is, that one incident was able to cut half a second off of the lead. Travis Barnes has already not only brought it back up to the lead, he has tacked another 0.2 seconds on. So in just 10 laps since that incident, Travis Barnes has pulled the gap back to what it was and added to it. He has already pulled another 10th now, so he has already put 0.8 of a second on the lead in about 12 laps. That number 8 car is on a tear tonight, but he's catching lap traffic once again. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen.
For sure, Ryan Gormley going to have to deal with that lap traffic as well, but we got a battle side by side now for the 5th position. Nick Bellamy and BJ Tidrick. Bellamy going around the outside of that number 72 machine. He will make that work. Well, as I say that, Tidrick battles back here in turn number 1 and 2, but it does seem like that outside line is the line for passing. As, whoa, right in front of him, we have almost 3 wide on the front stretch. Seth Frazier going to the inside of Brad Carpenter, who's putting the number 3 machine 1 lap. Oh, contact!
Oh, my goodness.
Up into the outside wall. My, oh my, that's going to hurt that number 31 machine, but no caution. Can you believe that? We had a car on 2 wheels, and we're still green here. That's going to put Seth Frazier into 3rd. Gyro Cam getting a workout. That's not what Brad Carpenter wanted. He's led a significant portion of this race, and now he finds himself back in the 8th position with a lot of right side damage.
Peter, I'm sorry, we're not done. Bart Jr. and Nick Bellamy, they are in a cage fight right now. They are door to door. They are beating and banging here for this battle. And Casey Garber, he wants a piece of it as well, and they all want a piece of BJ Tidrick as well. This has been an incredible thing to watch right now. I believe this is for the 5th position, if I'm not mistaken, and this has been one of the most fun things to watch. And this is actually for 4th position between the 20 and the 82, and we are not done yet as Bellamy got ahead. Hector kind of came up a little bit higher to try a different line, and Garber's right there. Bellamy going to work on Tidrick, and Brad Carpenter right behind them. And Peter, I'm keeping my eyes also on the 31 to see how it's driving now after the little power slide there on the driver's side door for Carpenter for about half a straightaway. Doesn't seem to be doing too bad. However, he has begun to lose touch with these 4 cars in front of him.
You know, there was a video game I played once where you got bonus points for going on 2 wheels, where unfortunately you don't get bonus points in iRacing. And Brad Carpenter, so far, it doesn't look like he's lost too much pace, but really there's a great battle still between the number 72 and the 20, who we're right on board with here, coming out of turn number 2. And Bellamy just not quite able to get around Tidrick, and I saw Tidrick with a power slide into turn number 1 just a couple laps ago. That's what opened the door for Bellamy, and Bellamy's still just trying to go around that outside groove. We're only down to 35 laps to go in the NW Race Report 200. Make sure you go check them out on Facebook, give them a like, listen to the podcast every Monday and Wednesday. Great group of people sponsoring tonight's race. Of course, this is the penultimate round of the NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products, and getting word that Dylan Huffines in the number 7 machine has gone to the garage. He's actually been in the garage for quite some time in that number 7 machine. Tough night for Dylan in the number 7 machine. Garrett Huffines in the number 42 machine also was the first retirement tonight, so both of the Huffines machines are out of tonight's event. In fact, Dylan Huffines' car just blew up on the pit road. So that engine is now toast. As maybe he left that engine running without getting any cool air. So Travis Barnes, your race leader. There's the number 32 of Seth Frazier. He's trying to run down Ryan Gormley. Of course, Ryan Gormley, second in points coming into tonight. Seth Frazier, the points leader. And really, for the penultimate round, this is going to be a dogfight to the finish for the champion. As Bart Hector and Brad Carpenter getting close there. Carpenter trying to come back after that scuffle there. Hector's now in the 7th position. Casey Garber in the 96 has got around. So Garber has moved up to 5th. Wonder what happened there. Wonder if there was a scuffle between Bart Hector Jr., but he's fallen back to 7th. Remember, he was battling for the 4th position just a few laps ago. But Bart Hector trying to go around Tidrick around the outside right now. There's the number 6 machine, Cameron Dole. Pretty quiet night out of that number 6 car, but he's solidly inside the top 10. Adam Holm in the 911 machine right behind him. There's Garber in the 96, now inside the top 5. Of course, that's where he started. He started up there. He actually started in the 11th position, but he pretty quickly made his way up into the top 5 after the big melee that we had in the early goings off of turn number 2. Oh, 3 wide. That doesn't work too often on a racetrack like that. Luckily, it does here. Good driving out of the 72.
Oh,
contact!
And around goes
Junior! Oh, in the inside wall, no caution. There's the caution.
The juniors came together, and oh my goodness, what a heartbreak. We take a look at the 3-wide TV replay and see what happened.
Yeah, a little bit of contact perhaps. We'll have to see if we can see from a helicopter cam whether or not there was neck code involved. They went 3 wide, they got through that. You thought that would be the point where they would probably have a wreck, but it wasn't until turn number 3 and 4, and it definitely looked like the number 82 of Hector was crowding him down there just a little bit. We go on board with Brad Carpenter here, and yeah, it looks like the 82 came down the racetrack. I think, Greg, I think he was expecting BJ to be right on the bottom, right there by the yellow line, but BJ was up about a quarter of a groove, and there was a coming together.
Yeah, that's a tough break for both guys there, Peter, and Bart just giving it all he's got late in the race, and both guys fighting over the same piece of real estate there, and unfortunately it's the 82 that gets the worst of it. And that's such a tough break for both those guys, because both those guys are having such great runs, and Hector, of course, is right there in striking distance in the points going into the championships next weekend, so this could be a huge dagger for that if this proves to be as costly as it could be, as we are late in the going here at Lanier with Travis Barnes up front. However, this is going to bring Ryan Gormley and Seth Frazier right back up there. So, Peter, this changes everything.
It does change everything. I mean, Travis Barnes was out to such a huge lead, and now that's going to be completely gone. That number 8 machine, Travis Barnes, your race leader. Ryan Gormley's going to restart 2nd. And what about Seth Frazier restarting 3rd? We got 2nd and 1st in points inside the top 3 here tonight. Ryan Gormley, 2nd in points, only behind Seth Frazier by 5 markers coming into tonight. Ryan Gormley, looking at how they qualified, Gormley actually qualified 2 spots in front of Seth Frazier. So right now, this would be a 3-point swing for Ryan Gormley, inching in on Seth Frazier, but the green flag back in the air. 20-lap shootout here at Lanier. And there is the number 32, your points leader coming into tonight. Can he get around the 44 and try and close in on the number 8 of Barnes? Only time will tell. Barnes trying to get a little bit of redemption from last week where he was assessed the 1-lap penalty, taking away a checkered flag. Who will win this one, Greg? It's going to be a great finish. Hopefully we can stay caution-free to the end. There you see the NW Race Report 200 logo up there in the top left. Make sure you go check them out on Facebook.
Peter, closing stages of this one, Barnes is beginning to pull away from the rest of the field, and One thing I've noticed, or I didn't get a chance to mention it, but Garber getting a run there on Nick Bellamy, a couple of Spokane area guys, teammates as they run in the same channel there. But Peter, both BJ and Bart were given EOL penalties on that one. So I don't think I've seen that before with both drivers getting penalized there.
Yeah, I think that's going back to what we talked about in last week's race, was that really the number 8 of Travis Barnes, he didn't call the penalty on himself, but after the race, the admins reviewed it, the race officials reviewed it, and there is a pretty big review process here in the Northwest represented by Joe's Racing Products where multiple drivers review it. They deemed the number 8 at fault, and so I think both BJ Tidrick and Bart Hector wanted to be on the safe side of things, and they are now both back in the pack. Bart Hector Jr. down in 17th. I know that's not what Aunt Kathy in the chat wants to see. There he is, currently one lap down, doing battle with the number 3 of Daniel Masters. That is for the 16th position. But as I look, getting up near the front, we have a good battle brewing for the second position. Seth Frazier has closed in on the 44 of Gormley here with now 11 laps to go, 10 laps to go this time by.
Good battle for second. And Peter, they're not letting Travis Barnes get away like they did the previous run, but that may change here with those two going to battle. But this is more than just a battle for second place in the race. This is your top 2 in points, separated by just 5 points. So this is a battle to really try to put yourself in good position going into the championship race next weekend. And Frazier, he's been the one, I've mentioned it earlier, the one making the outside work better than anybody. Here he is again, going after another guy who made the outside work, albeit it wasn't intentional for Ryan Gormley when he got around BJ Tidrick. But Frazier, he has been the one making that outside work, and he is showing no more than now. He needs that outside lane to work as Gormley bobbled off 4, but gets it back. Here comes Frazier with a big run off turn number 2. Gets the nose in front of Gormley. Gormley comes back on the inside. Frazier, caution is out.
Caution flag is out. Looks like Christopher Heim in the 51 machine has gone around on the front stretch. Looks like we will have a green-white checker here at Lanier. Let's go back a little bit further here on the street-white TV replay. There's the number 48, Travis McKinney, right behind him. I think McKinney already has a strike against him tonight. Ooh, looks like he had to check up. Looks like Heim actually got into the back bumper of the car in front of him. Couldn't quite tell who that was there. And had to check up.
That was the 47 of Josh Robinson.
Yeah, there's Josh Robinson, so we much high above. There's Heim. There's the first nudge. He checks up as to not spin out the 47, and unfortunately no place for the 48 to go. They made a little bit of contact. Now under caution here at Lanier. This race has gone by in a flash, 200 laps, and we're only about 1 hour into this event. Going on board here with the number 48 machine. There's the contact. Ooh, I think he tried everything he could to avoid that contact. You see he was running down below that yellow line. So we'll see whether or not he taps and takes a strike. Who will that fall on? I don't exactly know. Looks like no one has yet taken the strike. But as of right now, that's not what the number 8 wanted to see, Travis Barnes, as he was way out front and looks like he was just cruising to victory here in the Northwest Race Reports 200. But this will give Seth Frazier an opportunity to possibly challenge that number 8 machine here with just 2 laps to go when we have the green-white checker. But I'll tell you what, Greg, the number 8 machine has been getting such a good restart. I just don't think the field will be able to overcome that restart that the number 8 has been getting.
Yeah, we're going to see it here in just 1 lap if the lights on the pace car are out. I'm with you, though. That number 8 car has been almost unstoppable on restarts. But if anyone has a shot, it could be that 32 Seth Frazier. You know he's going to make that outside lane work for all he can. And here we go. And Barnes, he gunned it there on that one as he pulls away. Nice gap for Travis Barnes early.
Yeah, he went way early. Pace car wasn't even off the racetrack when that number 8 hit the loud pedal. But now Travis Barnes 1 lap away from going to victory lane here at Lanier. National Speedway, coming through turn number 1 and 2. And Greg, he's been the dominant car all night long. And Travis Barnes working his way through turn number 3 and 4. Oh, there's a car around the 76. Eric Cheney, we stay green. And that's it. Travis Barnes takes the checkered flag. Man, oh man, he saw that number 6. Oh, he's forward in the outside wall. Oh, contact after the start-finish line. And the number 8 machine hard into Seth Frazier's door panel. That, boy, oh boy, that's one way to celebrate going to victory lane. I think he tried to drift his way. He's still trying to drift his way around the racetrack. Boy, oh boy, this isn't the drift cars that you've been looking for there, Travis. But boy, oh boy.
Boy, that is one of the most interesting post finishes we've seen here in the iRacing.com Northwest Tour. But Peter, that's the checkered flag, and Travis Barnes unofficially has win number 2 on the season, and some redemption for for the win. But I'm sure he's happy that body panels aren't part of the tech inspection.
Yeah, he smacked the inside wall once or twice here, and he's still going out there doing some donuts. And finally, he's brought it to a halt here on the front stretch. But we will step away here briefly on 3 Wide TV, see if we can dial up interviews with your top 3 here tonight. Should be some fantastic interviews from Travis Barnes, Seth Frazier, and Ryan Gorman, but we'll be right back after a couple of commercials. All right, welcome back to 3 Wide TV, everyone. We got your top 3 lined up for you here on the front stretch here at Lanier National Speedway. And boy, oh boy, what a spectacular show we had here tonight. 200 laps around this bull ring. And I'm now joined by the 3rd place finisher here tonight. And Ryan, really good run for you here tonight. I mean, you were up there towards the front. You avoided some of the carnage early in the race and coming away with a 3rd place finish. I know you wanted to beat Seth Frazier and get to the checkered flag in front of him with that epic points battle. But the good news is that points battle will be decided next week. How was your race tonight?
It was pretty good. I was a little frustrated that he was in front of me when that came out, obviously, but he's a pretty good racer. He's clean. But yeah, we got cut up at the first big pileup, and the right front shows that damage, and so I think I didn't have a perfect car because of it, but I was able to keep it on the bottom, but burn up the rubber.
Well, it was really interesting to see the different grooves here tonight. You know, at the beginning of the race, when everyone had all that grip, the inside line was definitely the preferred groove. But we saw a lot of cars starting to struggle with the rear tires and having that grip level to be able to power out of the corners. And that opened up the door to the outside groove. How fun was that tonight, getting to run some different grooves around a racetrack?
It was pretty good. I mean, still slick. I guess, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite track and car setup, but I'm pretty excited about next week.
Yeah, of course, next week the whole season comes to a conclusion. I mean, how crazy is it? You started this season, you know, a couple months back, and how cool is it to go into the season finale as a rookie with a shot at the title?
It is pretty cool. I've always been pretty fast on iRacing, but with these setups here, it's pretty challenging. We've got some really good drivers up here in the Northwest, and got nothing for respect for them. And
Well, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to next week's race, and of course that will be at New Smyrna, which should be very cool. Of course, same place, same time here on 3Wide TV. What are your thoughts about New Smyrna, it being a track where you could walk away as a champion?
I like it. It's pretty challenging. It's almost like a paperclip, but lots of banking, lots of grip, still some downforce, which I like. So I'm excited to see how I can manage.
Well, the other thing I'm looking forward to next week, your top 2 endpoints will have to come all the way from the back of the field because, of course, the top 3 get inverted next week and start at the rear of the field. So that will be an absolute show here on 3Wide TV. You don't want to miss it. But before we let you go, you got any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, definitely want to thank my friends and family, my beautiful wife for letting me do this, my parents for watching down in Arizona. Town Square Media is my new job. So that's pretty cool. Joe's Racing Products, Mike Wood for his race car designs, and what is it, the Race Report sponsored this weekend?
Correct.
Yeah, thanks to those guys. Appreciate it.
Of course, and of course, coming home, 3rd place tonight, Ryan Gormley, driver of the number 44 machine, and the NorthWest Race Reports 200. Best of luck going for the championship next week.
Hey, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, Greg, it's going to be really, really fun to see Ryan battle it out next week, but I think you've caught up with the other person he's going to be battling with, the number 32, Seth Frazier, your 2nd place finisher here tonight. Well, maybe
Nah,
we've
how's
lost.
it going, guys? I'm here.
Oh, there it is. I got it.
There we go. We found Greg Rentz. Greg, were you eating something or? Probably having a
No,
hot
hit the
dog.
wrong hotkey.
Oh, well, there you go.
But Seth, Greg, you got a copy?
Yep.
All right, Seth, another podium for you tonight, 2nd place, and boy, you were the one really making the high line work. We noticed it about halfway through the race. You were the one that was bringing up the high line, and later on in the race, we saw a couple of other guys trying it, including Ryan Gormley at one point. But what was it that made you decide to try that high line? Because you were really the one that started it up there.
Well, everybody's running the bottom, so I just tried to go somewhere they're not. And if you get up next to somebody, which is really hard to do, but once you get up next to them, it's really hard to get off the corner with somebody outside of you. So once you get nose to nose with them, I think it was almost bird, but getting to that point was kind of tricky.
Well, Seth, you did a great job manipulating traffic, and you really were showing a lot of patience there. How important was it to be patient, especially at this tight little bull ring Lanier Speedway? It's only 0.38 miles long, so you have to exercise patience. And we saw, of course, at the start of the race with the big pileup, what happens when drivers maybe trying to go too hard too early. But what was your thoughts on how patient you had to be and just the overall flow of this race?
Well, it's so hard to pass here that be really cautious when you're passing somebody. If you get into them and turn them around and you get sent to the rear, it's a long ways back. I was really cautious trying to survive tonight and be within shot of Gormley for the championship next weekend. And the outside lane came in, and I got lucky to have everything kind of stacked up between, like, I guess it was Bellamy and Burr and Tidrick and a few of those cars. They kind of got all stacked up there, and they were all bottom feeding, so I got to the outside and was able to pick some off.
Well, mission accomplished, Seth. You are within distance of Gormley. You're actually might be in front of Gormley going into that, of course, waiting on the official points to be released. But you are in prime position for that championship. And boy, I mentioned it earlier in the web or broadcast. You have been probably the hottest driver on the tour the second half of the season, and heading into championship night could be a one-on-one battle with you and Ryan Gormley. And with it coming down to New Smyrna, we asked Ryan about this. What's your thoughts on that track being the host of the championship race, and how do you like racing there?
I really like New Smyrna. I think there's places to pass there, and it's big enough that it's not, like a bull ring like this. I think it'll be a good race next weekend. I'm not, points aren't updated 100% sure yet, but I'm it's looking like I'll have a 6-point lead over Gormley going into the finale. I'm not sure where Bart and Quinn will be, but it looks like it'll probably be 6 points between us going into the finale. So qualifying next week will be really important for those passing points.
All right, well, Seth, one more race to go, and it's a big one, championship race, but we know you got some shout-outs that you want to give, so who you got?
First, I got to say a shout out to Barnes for rebounding after last week, after the really tough situation with review board guys, and Barnes came and put it on us again. I think last week, if he had tapped, he probably would have drove back to the field and won anyways, but I'm glad to see him get some redemption. A big shout out to Terry Bridges, NorthWest Racing, for helping the league and helping NorthWest Racing as a whole. And a huge shout out to my buddy Mike Wood back in Sex, North Carolina, for painting majority of these cars for us and making us all look good.
All right, second place, Seth Frazier, getting himself in prime position for a run at the championship next weekend. We'll see you in Florida.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Greg, I gotta say, what a run for that number 32 tonight, getting up through the field. But I have made it down to victory lane, and it is redemption for Travis Barnes. Smoked him tonight, Travis. I mean, once you got out front, there was no looking back. There was at one point in the race where you got a little bit of wiggle room between some of the cars around you. It was back when you were around the 8th position or so, and I was watching your lap times. And at that point, you had the fastest 5-lap average, and I thought, wow, Travis is quick. And you were able to make quick work of the cars in front of you and get that win. How did you do it tonight? Because you made it look easy.
Throttle control, that's all it was. It was a lot like my home track, so it was pretty basic. I mean, you just had to figure out where the line was. And the inside just rolled pretty nicely if you could get the braking and throttle off correctly. But yeah, that's how I just smoked them.
Well, you definitely put on a masterclass, and you definitely saved those tires, because I did not see you slide those tires once all race. And of course, once you got out front, you didn't really have to do any more battling. You got a couple of lap traffic situations there. There was one time when you caught up with a couple of cars spinning. What was going through your mind when that happened?
Just try to avoid it. I mean, I'm not trying to get in anything, so just check up as much as I can. That big pile up, I just stopped at the top because I wasn't trying to get any damage or anything. It was just when we got the big long green flag run, I was just thinking, please no caution, please no caution. And of course, all the wrecks start happening in front of me, but I managed to avoid them, so pretty good.
Well, a fantastic run here tonight, and really, wow. At one point, you had about a 5.5 second lead, and had it gone green, you probably would have walked away with about a 6.5 second win. Very, very impressive. But next week, we got the season finale down at New Smyrna, down in Florida. What are your thoughts about New Smyrna?
I like that track actually a lot. I mean, I could say that about every track, but it's pretty fun to race around. I race that probably one of the most off the tour. I race that most in the super late model. It's pretty fun.
And that's something we have heard from all of our top 3 finishers tonight. I think everyone's looking forward to going back down to Florida, to New Smyrna. But before I let you go, Travis, you got any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Riverence and Springs Foods, and I'd also like to thank my whole family for coming on board and supporting this. It's been one heck of a week, and I appreciate it all.
All right, well, Travis, we'll see you down there in Florida, New Smyrna, next week, same place, same time here for the NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. Congratulations on getting a checkered flag here at Lanier.
Thank you, sir.
All right, well, Greg, that is tonight's race winner, Travis Barnes. And man, oh man, I gotta say, he smoked him tonight. I mean, he said it himself. He absolutely smoked him. Great to see that bounce back after losing that win last week at Phoenix in the Mission Valley Super Oval 150. But I think we have to go through tonight's finishing order. In fact, let's see if we can dial up that finishing order. There we go. Why don't you take it away there, Greg?
Coming home with the win, Travis Barnes. He has a win on the season at Irwindale. Got one taken away at Phoenix last year. As of now, got win number 2 here at Lanier with that dominating performance, like you said, over Seth Frazier and Ryan Gormley rounding out the podium with Nick Bellamy, Casey Garber, Brad Carpenter, Cameron Doyle, and a good bounce back for that 31 of Brad Carpenter. Forgot to mention after being up on 2 wheels earlier in the day. Adam Holm, the Dial 911, comes home with the top 10. Then it's BJ Tidrick and Rusty Webb getting up there into the top 10, Peter.
Yeah, pretty quiet night from Rusty Webb. We did see him a couple times out there on the racetrack, but he finishes in 10th, like you said. Josh Robinson, 11th. Daniel Masters started this race from the pole, finishes in 12th. The first car 1 lap down. Ellie Musgrave finishes in 13th, right ahead of Travis McKinney. Bart Hector Jr., after that contact, unfortunately sent him 1 lap down, and finishing in the 15th position here tonight. Christopher Heim and Eric Cheney. We saw the 76 machine around on the final lap. Didn't quite see what happened to Eric Cheney there, but Christopher Heim will finish 16th. Shane Quinn, 18th position behind Cheney, and then number 4, he was really stuck 2 laps down for the last half of the race. He was involved in that big melee that we had coming out of turn number 2 early. Wasn't able to recover. Brian Payne in the 74 machine finishes in 19th. He was the last car to finish. Dylan Huffines comes home 20th. Casey Tillman 21st. 22nd, Isaiah Gill. Daryl Tidrick 23rd, and Garrett Huffines finishing 24th. There you can see 21st through 24th. None of those cars made it to the checkered flag, unfortunately. But my favorite stat right down there at the bottom, most laps led, Travis Barnes, 105 laps led. Once he took the race lead on lap number 95, he did not look back. And I gotta say, such an impressive run. I think that's a really cool stat because he didn't lead this race until almost the halfway mark and saved his stuff, got through the field nice and neatly, and came home with the checkered flag. Before we head out here on 3Wide TV, got to give a few shout-outs. First, people I really want to shout out is some of the sponsors here for the NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. Of course, want to thank NorthWest Race Reports jumping on board for tonight's NorthWest Race Reports 200, as well as the NorthWest Super Late Model Series, Sarge's Place, Rustic Moon, Hermiston Raceway, Custom Fab, PFC Brakes, Pyrotech, Tidrick's Quality Transmissions, Mike Wood Race Designs, Short Track Racer, Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, Mission Valley Super Oval, State Line Speedway, and Mountain View Polaris. Lastly, but not leastly, all of us here at 3Wide TV want to give a shout out to our friends over at SimTV for the camera package. Unfortunately, there wasn't a camera package for tonight's race, but that's okay. We'll give them a pass this week. Still a fantastic group of people. Go check them out on YouTube. SimTV has awesome broadcasts. And, of course, our friend Thomas Morris over at OCR TV for the graphics package. But for myself, Peter Short, and Greg Rentz, we want to give each and every one of you a good night, and we hope to see you next week. Same time, same place, for the championship finale here for the NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. See ya!